Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Winnipeg Market Watch YouTube channel. For those of you who are not aware, my name is Keenan, and I am here today to take everybody back on a little journey all the way to early 2023, where I wrote a very bold article detailing some ambitious predictions for the Winnipeg real estate market at a time of, quite frankly, a lot of uncertainty and a lot of turbulence. So, for those who have been following me on Substack for a long time, you might remember that in April 2023, I predicted the Winnipeg real estate market would return to all-time high pricing in the spring of 2025. And spoiler alert, for those of you who are unaware, it looks very much so like this is the direction that the market is headed. So today, I want to dive into how exactly I came to that conclusion back in 2023, what factors I base my predictions on, and of course, where the market is moving today and how exactly I expect it to move going forward from spring of 2025. So without further ado, let's get into it. Back in April 2023, we were coming off a few bumpy years of real estate. We had volatile interest rates going from about 4% to about 0%. But there was a good mix of market optimism throughout the pandemic years, but there was also a lot of people that were pessimistic, calling for a crash basically every single month. Now, after we peaked in May of 2022, rates began to rise pretty rapidly, and a lot of investors in the space started to get into a lot of trouble. Now, everybody thought real estate was only going to go down by December 2022, and in the early stages of 2023, we saw the very first signs of the market beginning to return to 2022 pricing, but we were still more than 10% away from the highs that we saw the prior year. For that reason, there was a lot of chatter online, especially by investors, calling the market movements either a bull trap or a sucker's rally, and everybody generally had a sentiment that despite the prices moving upwards was surprisingly bearish. Now, again, I'll reiterate, I had a different take. While I completely understood why those people had bearish sentiments, I believe that Winnipeg was built entirely differently than cities like Vancouver or Toronto, where sky-high prices and foreign investment played huge roles. Winnipeg is different from those cities. The city is driven by entirely different fundamentals, and I really want to emphasize that even to this day, Winnipeg's fundamentals remain strong, and they were strong back then. So, this is why I wasn't buying into the fear, okay? I saw something with Winnipeg's demographic trends. I saw the government zoning and housing restrictions being changed. I saw changes in the overall foreign buyer plan that everybody was really afraid of at that time actually coming to fruition. And I was very sure that Winnipeg would rebound faster as soon as the rates dropped, which they, newsflash, are well on their way to doing. So, let's take a look at some of the key drivers of growth that we saw throughout the city from 2023 all the way to the upcoming year, 2025. So the biggest factor that I saw overall has been population growth. And this has been talked to death on social media, on YouTube, whatever you want. But long story short, Winnipeg has always been a really attractive place for new Canadians. It's probably the cheapest big city that you can live in the entire country, especially when you compare it to Toronto or Vancouver. And quietly and pretty quickly, we're becoming a prime destination for families wanting to move out of high cost of living areas and into somewhere that's a lot more affordable, where they actually have a real chance of owning their own home without generational money being involved. Now, second, I alluded to this already, but the interest rate cuts cannot be understated in terms of their overall importance to this prediction. Back then, I mentioned that interest rate cuts at this point in time were going to be a strong possibility. However, at this point in time, today is October 25th, 2024, we actually just 2 days ago saw a half-point cut in addition to several others preceding this, with more on the table to be expected. So the Canada interest rate benchmark right now is 3.75%. It's widely expected that could actually be as low as 3 by spring next year. So third, government policies. In early 2023, there was a lot of people who strongly believed that the foreign buyer ban was going to be some big, scary thing that basically drove prices down to nothing. And guess what? First things first, it got errated almost immediately to basically not do anything meaningful. And second of all, demand stayed strong regardless. So it was a boogeyman that never really came to be. And with people still pouring into the country for 2 years, needing somewhere to live, whether that's a rental or whether they're buying on their own, prices just continue to slowly march upwards. Now, let's actually talk about why prices moved up so quickly in 2024 and why I believe they will continue to move up so quickly in 2025 and actually beyond as well. The big question on my mind, and probably on your mind too, is why was I so confident about all of this? So, from 2023 until now, there has been a series of small gains through the spring, a little bit of a pullback towards the fall and the winter months, and actually this year in 2024, we haven't yet seen the pullback and we're almost at November. So every time there was a dip and somebody called a crash for the last 2 years, Winnipeg just kept chugging along. And why is that? It's because our fundamentals are very, very sound here. The Winnipeg real estate market is not built based on investor speculation, hype, or new money coming in and Ponzi-like structures. Winnipeg's market is built on families buying homes. It's built on first-time buyers. It's built on the 1950 through 1979 1,000 square foot bungalow with 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. And it is entirely based on people occupying the housing, not based on speculating on the housing. So keep that in your mind as I move on to the next thing, which is supply and demand. In Winnipeg, we don't have nearly enough homes right now, okay? And we're not building enough new homes either, for what it's worth. We've got these big developments where the trend right now is for developers to build things as affordable as they can, which, newsflash, they're still selling above $450,000 for a detached home, and sometimes actually a lot more than that. It's not enough to make up for the bottleneck in demand that was created. And so with a limited number of homes, you guys know what that means. It means bidding wars, it means rising prices, and it means the market stays kind of perpetually hot. Even in late October 2024, we're still seeing bidding wars. So what's next? Well, where do we go from here is a question that I've been asked a lot, both online in my DMs and in my business and my personal life. So let me just break it down for you. I'm doubling down today that we are going to hit the all-time high in spring of 2025, and I'm very confident in it. So why is that? Well, there's more rate cuts coming. I think that's pretty obvious. The Bank of Canada has been pretty forthright with what they're going to do so far, and guess what? Don't fight them. Believe them. They've been truthful. We're probably going to get more. You might not like that. You might like that. I don't know what it means for the economy, but for real estate, that's only a good thing. Now, you think about the people coming into the country, there's a lot of political talk that immigration is going to slow, et cetera, but most of that is not happening anytime soon. The foreign buyer ban was a boogeyman. Nobody ended up caring. And the rezoning rules are still years away from doing anything meaningful to our market whatsoever. So all of my predictions came true. Now, it's important to remember this isn't exactly a fluke that Winnipeg performed so well. It was never a bull trap. It was never a sucker's rally. We have a very fundamentally strong homeowner-driven market here in Winnipeg, and I'm very optimistic about the future as long as those fundamentals remain true. And again, I don't think anybody sees that changing anytime soon. So I hope you guys found this information valuable. I'd like to reiterate that I do think a spring 2025 all-time high is not only possible, but virtually the norm, and most people should be preparing for that. I think that the market going forward through to 2026 and even 2027 is only going to be good, barring some major global economic catastrophe. And if you found this video interesting, I would really encourage you guys to subscribe, like the video, turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next one. Subscribe to me on Substack, and just stay tuned. I'll be breaking down market predictions a lot more often as we move through this turbulent real estate cycle, talking about Winnipeg specifically, talking about Canada writ large, talking about North America, everything you want to hear. Thanks again for watching. See you next time.